So we are looking at the June 2019 regions, question number 27 in the short response area, short response section. This one's asking us to graph this piecewise function. And piecewise functions are scary looking, but they're really not that crazy. What you need to know is that there are two functions to graph. They have you graph part of this function, the absolute value of x, and then we're going to graph, maybe we'll do that in green, this other function, negative 2x plus 10. The parts to the right tell you where that graph lives. So my absolute value of x lives between negative 5, including negative 5, and 2, not including 2. And my negative 2x plus 10 is going to live over here, between 2 and 6, including both 2 and 6. Now, if you know how to graph those by hand, you can just start going for it. But I'm going to show how you can do this on the calculator as well, just in case you have trouble getting these absolute value function or this, even just graphing this basic linear function. So I'm going to go to New Document. I'm going to press the 1 key to get there. If it asked if I wanted to save, I would just say no, and I'm going to go ahead and add a graph. Now, you can do this two different ways. You could just graph this first guy and then only copy the parts between negative 5 and 2 onto this, and then graph the second guy, negative 2x plus 10, and then only graph between 2 and 6. But if you want to get really fancy about it, the calculator will do that for us. I'm going to go press this button between the 9 and the book, this little option for some math functions here. And we do see our absolute value function, which we'll use in a moment, but actually there's this over here, which might be a little difficult to see, but it's a piecewise function, right? It has 4 spaces with that curly bracket that we see over here. So I'm going to choose that. It gives us 4 spaces, and I'm just going to copy exactly what I have on the test into here. Again, to get the absolute value between the 9 and the book, there's this button right here. I'm going to choose my absolute value function right there, and I can just plug in x. X is on the very bottom over here. So there's x. After the comma, I'm going to plug in where it's living, the inequality that says where that absolute value function is living. So I'm going to put in negative 5. To get this less than or equal to symbol, I'm going to hit Control, the Control button, and then the equal button. And it is less than or equal, so I'm going to choose that. Less than or equal to x, less than or equal, or just less than 2. And then I'm going to go copy the second part, negative 2x plus 10. And that's living when 2 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 6. If I hit enter here, it should graph the 2 for us. And if I want to get really fancy, I can do my menu trace. I'll do it slow this time, just in case anyone doesn't know how to do it. You go down to 5 for trace. You want to start out by going to trace step, so I'm going to select 3. Now it starts as automatic. Most of the time, I'd say about 90% of the time, you want to have a trace step of 1. So I'm going to hit enter twice to get the trace step of 1 put in there. Go down to trace, press 5 to get to it, and now I graph trace, and now I can press these left and right arrow buttons to get the coordinates that I'm going to plot. And I will just start plotting these points. So I'm going to plot the point negative 5, 5, and I'm going to plot that in purple. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's negative 5, 5. I'm going to go 1 to the right. Negative 4, 4. I kind of see how this is going. Yep. I mean, this is your absolute value function, right? It has a default slope of 1. And I'm going to do this. Let's see. I'm going to do this till my vertex part here, 0, 0. Then I go to 1, 1. And this is where the calculator can kind of mess you up a little bit. If I hit to the right here, it will actually skip over the 2. But I really do want to plot this up to 2, and I'm just going to not include it by putting an open circle. So I'm going to follow the slope that they gave us, and I'm going to go here to 2, 2, but I'm going to put an open circle on this because it is just less than. And now I can start putting my second line down. So 2, 6, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, is that 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. And this looks like it has a slope of, let's see, 3, 4. So I'm going to go 1 to the right, 2 down. Obviously, slope of negative 2, right? And I'm going to continue going 1 to the right and 2 down till I get to 6, negative 2. And because 6 is the last thing that I want to include, that's where I'll stop. So 1 to the right, 2 down. That's 4. 1 to the right, 2 down. That's 5, 0. 1 to the right, 2 down. That is 6, negative 2. I'm going to do my best to connect my dots. On your test, you should really have a ruler and make sure that your lines are nice. I might lose points for having my weird squiggly line here. That's not really great. So just like that, and I'm going to connect these dots over here. Let's see. Connect these dots over here. That's not the worst line I've ever done. And you also really, really want to put a big closed circle at the end here because it is a less than or equal to, and a big closed circle over here to let them know, hey, I am including 2 and 6 on this green line. Big closed circle over here because I am including negative 5 on this one, but make sure this open circle remains open here because it's just less than 2. That should be a full 2 points for this question. And yeah, hopefully this calculator helped out a little bit, or hopefully you understood, the main idea is you know how to graph. The first part is telling you what to graph, and the second part, the inequalities, are telling you where it lives, where you're supposed to be graphing it.